Hello, everybody. This is Sarah Zastro from Bay Area Wellness, where we help you to have less pain, manage your stress, and live a more joyful life. Today, we are talking about a topic that does not often get talked about, although it's beginning to pick up a little bit of steam, and that is really exciting. We are talking about mental health and how to know when you need counseling and what are the next steps to take after you decide to get help with your mental health. So this is a really near and dear issue to my heart for a couple of reasons. Number one is that for most of my life, I have dealt with some sort of anxiety, a little bit of depression, different things like that. And I've went to counseling several times. And I just got done with a round of counseling, and I call it a round of counseling because every once in a while, I just go back, kind of brush up, make sure that I'm doing okay, and then I can go on and live a normal, happy, healthy life. However, sometimes I do need to brush up and just kind of refocus my mental health. So as a lot of you guys know, I used to be the secretary for the priest who got arrested for sexual assault, and I was still really angry about that, and I was holding on to that for a long time, and like years, and that's not really healthy. It was starting to cause a lot of problems within my own kind of emotions and dealing with that, and so I went to a conference in the fall. Some of you guys might remember the Rachel Hollis conference, and we talked about kind of being self-aware and knowing when you need help. And that was sort of an eye-opener for me, and I decided that I really need some help. And so what I decided to do was go to online counseling. So I did counseling through betterhelp.com, and I'll go into different options in a minute here. But basically, I started at this conference realizing that I'm holding on to a lot of anger from the past, and I think that is really common. I know a lot of people hold on to anger, and whether that's as a result of grief or as a result of just not being able to process emotions for whatever reason, or you struggle with anxiety or depression or grief or some sort of panic disorder or post-traumatic stress disorder, people are unable to process emotions for a number of reasons, and mine in particular was getting in the way of my life. And so that is why I decided to go to counseling. There's a ton of different reasons why people go to counseling. If you struggle with different things, as mentioned before, feel free to go to psychologytoday.com. They have several articles about how to know when you need counseling, which is really helpful because I think a lot of people just think that they're fine. They think they don't need it. It's fine. It'll just work itself out if I just sleep more or switch to more vegetables or different things like that. It'll all be okay. And that's not necessarily the case. It's not necessarily true. And that's what I did for a long time. And I was like, oh, if I just exercise more and eat, spinach twice a week, then it'll all be fine. And it's not fine. And so I decided to do counseling, and it was really great, really life-changing. And I went 4 times in 4, not 8, and completely changed the way that I thought about that situation, changed the way that I talked to myself, my own inner self-talk, and it was really helpful. So Psychology Today is a great tool to know if you need counseling, when it's time to start thinking about that. And they also can help you find a counselor in your zip code. So that is really helpful too, because sometimes it's difficult to know who offers counseling in your area and things like that. So you can type it in and find counselors. Which is really cool. If you are in the Midland area or kind of this region, there's a couple of people that I've worked with in the past that are wonderful. First is Haven Professional Counseling in Midland, and then also Partners in Change. They are awesome. And then Midland Psychological Services. They also have an office in Gratiot County and one down in the St. John's area. So those offices in this area are wonderful. If you're out of this area, you can always check out Psychology psychologytoday.com, or do like I did. What I chose to do was do online counseling through BetterHelp. They have an app, and the reason that I chose to do this was because my schedule is so nuts and I'm everywhere all over the map all the time, and I can't be in the same city necessarily at a same time every week. And so I decided to do it online, which was super awesome. It was just the perfect thing for me. And I'm going to make another video about how to enroll in that process and what to expect, but just know that that's what I chose. So the other thing is that, let's see, always find a counselor that you really connect with. And I chose that I wanted to do online for that reason that I said, was just, it's like a convenience thing for me, but also everybody in this area knows exactly what happened with that priest and with the situation there. And I wanted an outsider perspective. And so that was really important to me, to get somebody that was far removed, because I went to a counselor right after it happened, and the counselor seemed to be more invested than I was. And so it wasn't a great fit. So finding a counselor that you really connect with and that you can talk to about anything is really important. And so I just encourage you to find that. And if you don't find that at first, or things just aren't working with your counselor, switch counselors. You can always find somebody else, but it's really important that you have a good relationship where you're able to open up and feel comfortable. And so make sure that that is a priority. Okay, so our tips for the day are: go on Psychology Today to find out if you think you might need counseling. Figure out if that's something you should do based on your own feelings about your past and your present and how you're dealing with those feelings and things like that. Also, find a good counselor in your area, whether it's here or online, or by typing in your zip code by location. Find a good way that works for your schedule and yourself, your lifestyle. That is super important, because if it's inconvenient, you're going to find an excuse not to do it. And that's really important, to make sure to make that commitment to yourself to do online counseling, or not necessarily online counseling, but fulfill your commitment to counseling so that you can really make change in your life, because it does make a huge difference. And it really changed the way that I feel about myself, changed the way I feel about my past, and about the whole situation in general, which is really remarkable considering I've been angry about it for 2 years. So I kind of wish I would have done this about 1.5 years ago. Okay, so let us know if you have any questions, you guys. This is super helpful. We love counseling. We love talking about mental health. And one of my goals is to break the stigma around mental health. There's this huge kind of cloud around it. And we tend to think that people who struggle with their mental health are weak, or are somehow, they're not godly, or they're not people of faith, different things like that. And that's just not true. And so let's break that stigma. Everybody struggles with mental health at some point or another, and it's important, if you need help, to get the help that you need. Okay, I hope you guys have a good day. Let me know if you have questions. I know this is a sensitive issue. You can always type them below, or feel free to shoot me a direct message. Little disclaimer, I am not a mental health counselor, therapist, anything like that. I'm just a person who has been changed by counseling. You guys have a great day. We'll see you